What's up, everybody? I wanted to do a quick update on the Jeep build because there's a lot that's changed since the original video showing you kind of what we're going to be doing. So thought I'd do a quick update and throw this out there for you guys to kind of stay informed as to what's going on. So first things first, there is not a tub on this one in comparison to the last video, and here's why. That kind of has a clue, and we'll get to that in a second. So first things first, in the first video, you kind of saw this grill. It actually looks 10 times better than I thought it would. I actually picked up a grill cover because I thought this wouldn't turn out as good as it is. So far, this was only 15 minutes of beating it out, and so it's nice and flat now. I got to pull a couple of those back out this way, and it'll be good to go. So really not worried about the grill too much. This may not even end up getting used because I really like the classic look of the standard TJ grill. We pulled the fenders off of the body, ratchet strapped them up onto the engine block to be able to move it around. So that's how this name is going to change from the Governor to the shade tree. So we actually had this on a crane hoist way back there, up on a tree limb, and actually used it to pull the tub off of the old frame and then pull that tub and put it onto this frame before we realized, until we hit a snag. So with that said, the new name for this project is called the Shade Tree, or just Shade Tree. We're going to call it that because I was going to call it the Governor, but I feel like Shade Tree is just a better fitting name for everything we're going to be doing with it involving a tree. So as far as the engine goes, the exhaust manifold is cracked. Pretty standard thing on the older TJs. So we're probably going to go through, and I'm kind of researching it right now as to whether or not we'll do a two-piece exhaust manifold or go switch to headers. Still trying to figure that out, so if you know anything, drop it in the comments because it'll help me out with the research on things. As far as the drivetrain goes, this is not an angle that you want to have, and most of you may have just cringed then, but that's pretty bad. Basically what happened is the transmission mounts snapped when it rolled. Motor mounts are actually still good, but we're going to switch those out to a motor mount lift when we do a 1 1/4 body lift so I can tummy tuck it later. But we're just going to go ahead, and since we have the tub off the frame, we thought, hey, we might as well go ahead and redo these welds, get this boxed in a little bit better, go ahead and redo mounts, go ahead and paint the frame, and basically just do a lot of stuff that it's going to be very beneficial to do with the body off versus doing it later on when we don't have that accessibility. So when we pulled the tub off, we realized there's a lot of rust. This looked like it was cancered through pretty bad, but once we took a wire wheel to it, it's actually not as bad as we thought it was. So we're actually going to salvage this, keep this. We're not going to try. We're going to cut it out and switch it with the other frame, but instead use the other cross member from the other frame. But instead, we're just going to cut this out. We're actually going to outboard the shocks to here. Still working on angles, getting all that math correct. So we're going to go ahead and cut that off, keep this for the body mounts as well as the gas tank skid bolts. And so as we come down here, you can kind of see I went ahead and cut the brackets off for the springs. They're going to get relocated from here to here, shifting and making that angle a little bit better. And once we outboard the shocks, it's going to give us a lot of extra droop. So we're basically doing a poor man's really good off-road rig, I guess the best way of calling it. So there's a lot to work on, a lot to do. The track bar mount itself is an aftermarket. I believe it came with a suspension, but the bolt was blown off of it, so it's looking like that was causing the whole axle to shift. So that's part of our problem. It's shifted about an inch over this way. So there's some different stuff we're going to have to work on there. But this is a good kind of basic overview as to what we're going to be working with. The body itself is perfectly fine, so we're just that'll just drop right on. We'll have to do a lot of rewiring, get all that situated, run another gas line out because we had to cut it out to drop that tank because it doesn't just come out. You have to actually cut it. And yeah, so we'll just assess problems as we go along. So if you're interested in following this, I'll put a link in the description. I'm kind of playing around with a couple different websites to post a build thread on, just because I'm running into links breaking problems with that. And I want to make sure you guys can actually follow this build instead of just on here where I do these small little updates. So if you're interested in following that, check the link in the description. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, because this is where I post the majority of the stuff for this build once everything's been done. So the thread is just simply for what's going on as it happens, and then these videos are more of a quick overview as to everything that's been done since the last step. So I guess I'll see you guys next time. Later.